Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today I am saying goodbye to the Mazda 3, which I've owned for about a decade, and insurance company's writing it off. For those of you who don't remember, I hit a rock on Boxing Day. Boxing Day being December 26th for those of you Americans because don't celebrate Boxing Day. And it took out the oil pan and moved the engine on the engine mount. So not a lot of damage, really. But the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia, the government-owned insurance company, it's taken them till now, what's it, like late February, to decide to write it off. Now, it's not all bad news. What they're giving me is pretty close to what I paid. I got a reasonable deal on this. I'm the second owner. And the car, until it had the accident, had 250,000 kilometers, but it did not leak a drop of oil or coolant and did not burn oil. In fact, you could drive this car and never check the oil. That's how good it was, the drivetrain. And all I've put into it in a decade is one set of front tires. I did the brakes myself, just pads all the way around. It's pretty simple. And what else? A new battery when I first bought it, and it's still got that same battery. In fact, the car still runs. I just started it. So I guess it's going to live on as a parts vehicle because it's going to go to their wrecker yard and the salvage yards will take it. And there's a lot of, the body's straight still. So the car's going to live on as a parts vehicle. And of course, somebody's going to look at the engine and go, oh, the engine's probably toast. Now, if somebody pulled that engine to put a new oil pan on it, this engine going to be bulletproof for at least another 100,000 kilometers. But I digress. So I'm waiting for the tow truck, and then they're going to just send me my money, and I'm moving on. But the car has been so good to me that you watch on YouTube all these people, they're getting their cars repoed, and they won't drive a hoopty because they're too proud. And it's always the poor people that are the most proud. And it's the millionaire next door that drives an old car like this. In fact, where I live, it's all Mennonite and Dutch farmers, and you run into them at the store. They look like they don't have 2 nickels to rub together. They're driving a 20-year-old pickup truck that's rusted, and they're wearing old gum boots, and they look poor. Of course, city folks like to pretend they're richer than they are. It's all about posing. Well, country folk aren't like that. The guy next to you at the lineup at the supermarket that looks like he's broke, probably worth $15 million, okay? A lot of rich Dutch farmers in the Fraser Valley. So anyway, I digress. So, what I'm trying to say is I crunched the numbers. This car, I put $1,750 worth of maintenance into it in around a decade. And then factoring in what I paid and what I'm getting back, which is very similar. It's a little less, but pretty close. This car cost me in maintenance over a decade, 50 cents a day to run. 50 cents a day. Now, that's not counting insurance. Every car's got to have insurance. And that's not counting fuel, because every car has to have fuel, or at least, internal combustion engine vehicles. So I think I did exceptionally well, and the car was really good to me. Never left me stranded. In fact, I would consider buying another one. I actually pulled out the Eon 8-core deck that I had because insurance company not going to give me anything extra for putting that in the rear camera. So I've salvaged that. So I'm either going to put it in the next car if I buy another Mazda, or maybe I'll sell it. If I have a friend with a Mazda 3 that's compatible, maybe I'll even give it away. But I didn't want them to have it when they're not going to pay me anything extra for it. But yeah, it's kind of mixed feelings. And I'm waiting for the tow truck that's going to come today or tomorrow and take it away. And for those of you out there that are too proud to drive an older vehicle, do your research and get a used vehicle, pay cash, have no payments, have low insurance, and, save your money, invest your money, spend your money on something or someone you love, okay? Don't give it to the manufacturers, especially these people. They all gotta give a Hellcat. They all gotta get a Dodge. You know, look what's happening with Stellantis. That company has just destroyed their brands. Overpriced, unreliable crap. And people are lining up, especially with subprime lenders. You know, they're taking out loans at 24, 28, 30%, putting zero down or $1,000 down. It's crazy. And then the repo man comes, and then we see the videos of them chasing after the repo man. You buy a used car, you're going to be so much ahead of the game. And, okay, you're going to say, but Andrew, you just bought a brand new Kawasaki. Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. And I justified that because I know this is not drivable and I needed a vehicle. And I picked something that got 60 miles per gallon. It's got a warranty. And here's the kicker. The depreciation on a tiny purchase of a motorcycle versus a $40,000 vehicle, that percentage is so much different, okay? Crunch the math. If you had even 30% depreciation in the first year on 10 grand vehicle, like a motorcycle, or 30% on 40,000, that's a much bigger number. 30% of 40,000 is a much bigger number, okay? And I can afford the depreciation on a smaller amount. Because that's the thing that people always forget about. And that's not just the operating cost, not just the insurance, it's not just the fuel, it's the depreciation. And me getting almost what I paid for a car 10 years later, how can I complain, really? Especially since the car hasn't caused me any problems. And of course, this is a manual transmission, so bulletproof. A lot of those manual transmissions are not like these new CVTs that are failure prone. So the car is still reasonably clean. I know it's been sitting kind of idle for a while, but I put the old factory deck back in, and like I said, it is manual. And still lots of dog hairs because of Sammie. I've rollered it many times, but you're never going to get all that hair out. So, and I smoked quite a few cigarettes in this car over the years. It actually doesn't smell like cigarettes anymore because, of course, I quit smoking on New Year's Eve. So, but it's just sitting here with nobody smoking in it. Yeah, you could barely tell somebody ever smoked in it. So, not that anybody's ever going to drive this again, but who cares if it was smoked in? But that's another thing. If you are a smoker, do you really want to smoke in your brand new vehicle? I've seen people do it that are smokers. They buy a brand new vehicle, they're leaving the dealership. Maybe the first day they'll say, hey, no smoking in the car. By the second or third day, they're smoking in the car. And most people, when they buy a vehicle, even smokers, I don't want to smell a car that smells like cigarettes all the time. Really. I'm a window guy. Of course, I don't smoke anymore. Remember, I do not smoke anymore. But I was the type of guy that always the windows down. I'm not hotboxing with the cigarettes. And oh my God. Whew. Yeah, it's almost hard to believe that... speaking of smoking, there's a little bit of junk left in the, here, look what I found. I think this is from Washington State. I still got a couple Marlboro cigarettes from, I think this is a trip in, I don't know, month or so, well, this car has been driving since December. I think sometime after I got back from Europe, I went down to Washington and I remember buying a pack of Marlboros because normally I smoked Canadian cigarettes. But yeah, a couple smokes in there for the tow truck driver smokes. I'm sure they usually rifle through for spare change. I was already smart enough for that. I grabbed the spare change out of here. There was probably about $4 worth. I know tow truck drivers, if they're smart, when they pick up the hoopties to go to salvage, if they rummage through the change and the drawers and whatnot, they can probably always get a few loonies or toonies out of these cars. But I was thinking ahead. In fact, I remember one time buying a used car that had a whole bunch of spare change in it. It was like $40 worth of change. Sometimes you get lucky. But anyway, sad to see the old girl go. But she's been good to me, and what else can I complain about? She kept me safe. Not even one airbag has deployed, and there's, I believe, there's side curtain airbags and the front ones, so it's never even been in a collision, other than the rock on the oil pan that wrote the car off. So, yeah. Well, if I felt more ambitious, maybe I would just fix it, but it's just so much easier for them to write me a check, and down the road I'll just buy another one. When I see the right used vehicle, I will buy another one. In the meantime, I can drive the motorcycle for a few more weeks, and besides, I'm saving so much money with 60 miles per gallon, and being that the weather is kind of crappy in the winter, I'm not driving as much. So, I know the other day I went for a substantial drive, but that's only the nice days. Otherwise, I'm just not wasting money on fuel. And when I am driving 60 miles per gallon on a bike, you can't beat that. So, anyway, that's about it for my yattering and my goodbye to the Mazda 3. So put your comments down below. Hope you're doing well. Talk to you soon. Over and out.